Soundstripe.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough.
Welcome back to the XandO Sports Show. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Tonight we got the one and only Jasmin L Spain, the Black Pet Rally. Tell everybody how you doing tonight, Jasmin.
Hey, how you doing out there, America, across the globe? Great to have an opportunity to be on here with XandO Sports with you again, Rick. It's a pleasure, bro.
Awesome. Tell everybody, you got a lot of gear on, and let everybody know who you're repping and what you got going on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rick. So I serve as the job that I'm paid for is I serve in higher education, been in higher education for almost 20 years. I currently serve as the Assistant Vice President of Student Support at Pitt Community College. That's located here in Greenville, North Carolina. But the job that I was made for is I serve as the founder and chief visionary officer for the main initiative, which stands for Males Addressing Issues and Needs, which is a personal development and professional development consultant agency that focuses on higher education, consultation, civil rights, discrimination, Title IX, but a very, very heavy emphasis on cultural competence, diversity, equity, inclusion, and the creation and architecture of Black male initiatives for especially those in the K-12 and in the college environment. But I'm also the founder and the president of You Good Bro Incorporated. And that is a solution-focused nonprofit entity for like-minded brothers like yourself, Rick, and myself, where through sheer accountability, transparency, and creating a brave and safe space for other men to come together and talk about the realities of what it's like to be a man and how to navigate through those this life and these walls and these barriers that society has built, our families have built, and even some of the walls that we built amongst ourselves. And so, we operate from that hashtag that a mental health movement, if you read between the lines, where men heal men. And our ultimate goal is to be able to, when someone asks us, you good, bro, we can actually say yes and actually mean it. So speaking from that psychosocial emotional wellness of Black men like ourselves is the ultimate goal, to be better men, better fathers, better husbands, better brothers, better citizens in our communities, to set the example. And we convene every first and third Saturday morning from 9 to 11. You can email me at yougoodbroinc, yougoodbroinc@gmail.com to RSVP for our next convening, which will be March the 19th. And our topic for that day is going to be on sex or child sex abuse and fatherhood. And so, that's going to be a very major piece. It's going to be a training. And for those of you out there who need continuing education units for your particular professions, it's an annual thing to keep your license or your certifications intact. We're going to be providing that day. We'll have some licensed trainers who are going to be with us that day to talk about the topic, but also, to engage in this very serious conversation about child sex abuse and about fatherhood and how that impacts each other. So thanks for the opportunity, Rick, to share.
No problem, man. I was definitely being that convening on the 19th. I'll say, we're here because, Mr. Spain is the Black Pet Rally. He knows his basketball. Is a big basketball head. We'll get right into it. Right. I want your opinion on, did you feel like, what was your emotion and how did you feel about Coach K's last game at Duke?
Man, oh man. So I'm glad we're talking about this. And I'm repping my brand, the You Good Bro and Main Initiative brand. But I bleed blue and orange when it comes to the game of basketball. And so as a diehard New York Knicks fan ever since 1990, and watching the opportunity to watch the bad boy, and I'm going to answer your question, but it's a story to this thing, okay? And watching the bad boys win back-to-back titles. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I observed was how, and at a young age, at 1990, I was 9 years old, but I become a Knicks fan by watching their aggressive play. But the aggressive play that really stuck with me also was the Bad Boys and how they used to whoop up on Michael Jordan, right? And Michael Jordan, after he had, kind of figured it out when it came to the Jordan rules and all that kind of stuff, I still was a diehard Knicks fan. Charles Oakley is my favorite basketball player of all time. My favorite Knick. And, that was how I, patterned my game growing up, hard-nosed garbage man kind of guy, low post banging, doing all the dirty work. But Michael Jordan, just being totally honest and transparent, Michael Jordan is the reason why we didn't get us a title. Mike kept us from the finals up until he went into retirement for what I believe is, the NBA wasn't having it when it came to their gambling, but that's a conversation for another day. And we, went against the Rockets and we came up short. But what I'm getting at is because of what Michael Jordan did, I hate anything dealing with Michael Jordan. So that means I hate Carolina. I hate Wilmington. I hate Carolina blue. I hate Carolina sneakers. My mother got me some Jordans from a yard sale when I was a kid. And you know what I did with those, Rick? I mean, just to say you had Jordans would probably be a big thing. Yeah. You know what I did with those things, Rick? Now, they came from a yard sale, so I don't know how much she paid for them. So they might not even been real. But you know what I did with those, Rick? I cut grass in them. So that just lets you know how deep that thing runs. But going back to your question about Coach K, it felt good to see the oppressor lose on Saturday. Okay? Because you got this guy here, man, who's just really, I mean, understand the power and the authority, but it felt good to see him be humbled like he was on Saturday, and I like the fact that he lost to a black coach. Even though he was for Carolina, I like the fact that he lost to a black coach, to be humbled in that way. And the way that he came, I know they had to make a celebration out of it. It is a big deal, man. Coach K is, let's just be real. I mean, he's had some stellar teams, has done some great things in college basketball, especially when we talk about the NBA and the impact he had on the Olympic teams and how the NBA had an impact on him to go back and change up his system of how he coached the basketball, as opposed to, not saying he didn't rely on the team, but he saw the value in individuality and individuals' talent like the NBA does, and to bring that kind of culture back to college basketball. But I also think that he, with his power, I think that he took advantage of it. And I think that in some cases, he got over on a lot. And it just felt good to see him be humbled the way that things went down on Saturday, coming out before the game. I understand the recognition, but I think there's a way of doing things. The boy got him. He let the boys go, and I like the fact that the referees let him play, because I think that the referees could have easily been intimidated by Coach K being in the last game. But I truly believe the refs were like, you know what? This your last game. You ain't gonna punk me. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna punk me. You ain't gonna tell me this is gonna be that you gonna threaten that I never have an opportunity to referee again. You're not gonna tell me that. Yeah.
So has he told somebody that before?
Yeah. He's done that to a number of times to referees, that there will be the last time they referee a game.
Oh wow,
that's power, man. That's the level of power, but that's an oppressive mindset, man. That's an oppressor's mindset to do that, man. And so that man ain't got no choice but to win the championship. He better win the championship, because if he don't, this is his legacy. Just imagine that, his legacy. If I were him, I would not have scheduled Carolina as my last game.
What I thought
I'd have played Boston College or something.
Yeah, I feel like it was a money thing, because he because I think they said he raised, like, I think some of the prices were like $20,000. But I'm looking like, y'all cutting up. Yeah. First of all, that stadium is too little, but that took a deep turn. That runs pretty deep with you. like I said, I watched the documentary because and you said that you were how old? In 89?
In 90, I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was one. So yeah. So I don't go as deep with Coach K. But like I said, I watched Duke over the years and I went back and watched some documentaries. And I thought it was the legacy inside of Duke. I feel like they wouldn't have that without Coach K. Like I said, the power, the pressure, and stuff that you're talking about. Like, cause I remember he had to leave for a back surgery years ago, and they tanked the whole season. Like they were just losing. They couldn't get it right. He comes back because I think he considered retiring in that back surgery. But they say he brought a lot of prestige to that university and actually got a lot of kids in the NBA. And I did like that most of his guys that played for him, they did play 4 years and get a degree. Like I said, I don't know if he had anything to do with that, but I just felt like a lot of those guys played 4 years and they played all the way through. As for his legacy, I think his legacy is fine. I don't think it'll be tarnished that he lost to UNC. They if I ain't mistaken, they're still in the tournament, right?
Yeah. The ACC tournament this week, but they'll definitely probably be a top, no lower than a 2 seed. Lower than a 2 seed coming into the tournament. Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with them because I feel like the NCAA were disrespecting my boys this year because we beat Duke in their house and we only lost like two games at the time and they wouldn't help us be ranked. So
Yeah, I think that y'all did. I think they really did. Because it's a football school. You know what I mean? I think that which shouldn't matter, but I know exactly what you're saying. And for those out there, I guess the XandO faithful out there, they know you a Hurricane. You roll with the U. So
yeah, I mean track, football, basketball. I watch it all. But
Cocaine Cowboys.
Yeah, that Booger Sugar Phantom down there, like they said. But like I said, in his but for my follow-up question, you actually answered part of it already. And in your eyes, what was the impact of Coach K on the game? And I remember like how Kobe and Kyrie and all these guys when he coached the Olympics and stuff, and they was like how he elevated their game, like how he challenged LeBron to bend his back and play defense. And Kobe really didn't shoot threes. And he was like, well, you got Carmelo, you got LeBron, you're going to have to shoot a three because you're going to be open. And so he was like, that actually added to his game. And I was like, I felt like he had a bigger impact on basketball as a whole than he did just at Duke.
Yeah, I mean, is that a question, Rick, or is that just?
Oh no, that was my like I said, the question was in your eyes, what was the impact that Coach K had on the game?
Yeah, I'll say too, Rick, is that from a I'm not going to say he made basketball exciting because in itself, the culture, the sport is exciting in itself, and the landscape of college basketball, whether you go from ACC to Big Sky to, Division II basketball, Division III. College basketball is exciting in itself, especially for a population of young folks who have been exploited, but gives you so much entertainment because they're doing it for the love, for the hustle, not necessarily for the dollar. But I think that he did a lot for college basketball. He made it exciting to see, along with Calipari, and I'll say some of those that come from Carolina, but he made the political aspect of it very interesting for me. And what I mean is that his authority and his power, I don't think that there's Calipari is pretty much like an asterisk, because you start thinking about UMass with Marcus Camby and the boys, you start thinking about Kentucky, you start thinking about Memphis, you know what I mean? You start thinking about all three of those institutions and all of the political piece that comes with that. But I say from Coach K, the impact that he had on basketball was he allowed, when you talked about the coming out early, because for a long time he wasn't a fan of coming out early, and it wasn't until Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, William Avery, and I want to say Mike Dunleavy might have been with that. I can't remember exactly who was with that squad. Because no, Jay Will was with the squad with Dunleavy.
Mhm.
But the one and dones, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
That one when he that one and done. Calipari had it going on, but Calipari had that notoriety like Coach K. He had that clean cut like Coach K. And Coach K is cut from the cloth of Bobby Knight. So when you talked about LeBron, you talked about Kyrie and how he challenged him. That's a Bobby Knight, like, get out my face. You know what I'm saying?
I forgot about Bobby Knight. You know, Mr. Slap Your Face. Yeah.
That's why. He just so happened didn't have the right brother on his team because he'd have set some brothers off. They would have went to work on him. But, not endorsing violence out there in the world. But.
Well, I'm glad that you brought it up because like I said, I remember for a long time, especially like when like you said, Elton Brand, that was, I was a little boy then, but like when I watched after Elton Brand, it was a long time before guys were doing one and done. You remember what's his name? Oh man, I think his name was it wasn't Wiggins, it was Parker, Jabari Parker.
Yeah.
He was the first person I had seen, since I had been watching Duke play for a while, but you could do a one and done. Well, I mean, Kyrie did it, but outside of that, like, I mean, to be honest, Kyrie really didn't play basketball. He was there for 6 games?
Yeah.
Because I didn't count him, but like Jabari Parker was the first person I knew that said, hey, when I go to Duke, I'm going to play for 4 years. And then he turned around and did one and done.
Do you remember Corey Maggette?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not at Duke, yes, I don't. Nah.
Okay, yeah, he was the first one and done that I had ever seen from Duke.
Yeah. So like I said, but most time guys went there for 4 years, they played, and a lot of times that hurt their draft stock because they were already seniors. Like that's why a lot of them like, oh man, this guy got a 3-point record. He played for 4 years, he better hit it. What's his name? He just retired. He could shoot the lights out.
JJ Redick.
Yes. I always felt like he was an underrated player just because he wasn't a dunker. But he'll mid-range and shoot the lights out all night. And then, he had a pretty good career in my opinion.
But I like what you're saying there, Rick. I like that.
Yeah. I think that
when you mentioned about I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
Oh, you good? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the impact also when you talk about the one and dones and we talk about the teams that he had. One of the things that he brought value to the game and the impact was he was one of the ones that was able to recruit talent, and he understood the value of all 4 years, and so he had built a program off of that all 4 years mentality. As with others that don't have the outstanding players that can be drafted into the league, you pretty much stuck with players for 4 years. But once he realized he had the talent, the top tier talent, what he did was he adjusted to the game and was like, well, if I want to continue to have these great teams, but I have all of this talent that is definitely not going to stay here more than 1 year or 2 years. I got to be willing to let go. So he adjusted with the time, because if he, players will ask, like, they want the support from a coach that says, okay, I'm gonna bring you in. I know you're talented enough to make a strong impact, and you're talented enough to go to the NBA, versus bringing somebody in that's going to say, well, you're going to have to play to this system, and it's going to pretty much limit your talent to be showcased. And so some players, they hear that stuff and they're like, I ain't coming to play for you. I'm trying to get up out of there in a year. You know what I mean?
Especially those guys going to the league. I did like I said, he did stick to his guns. I think it said Jabari Parker was the first one I saw. And of course, like I said, I ain't counting Kyrie, but he did adjust to it, because if you look at all the top talent, they were no longer going to Duke anymore. They was going to Kentucky, and they was going to other schools. One other school that I did notice in college, it slipped my mind. Josh Hart played there. At
UConn.
Yeah, was it UConn?
You thought UConn or Syracuse? You said Josh Hart?
Josh Hart. He played.
That played for the Lakers?
Yeah, but he didn't play. He didn't play for UConn. He played for who beat UNC in the title? I think it was 5 years ago.
Beat Carolina? Oh, Villanova. Yeah, Hart didn't play for Villanova.
they recruit guys, and they was like, we'll take a 3-star guy and develop. And I did like that they developed players because it was Josh Hart and it was somebody else that came out. Oh, that crew that they had.
Brunson was on that team. The white boy with the red hair.
Dante.
I don't know how.
Dante.
Yeah, Dante. Yeah, a white boy named Dante. Right.
Yeah. Like that whole squad, like all those guys were like sophomores and juniors, and they went in the first round. And I was like, that was the first team I've seen in a while to have 6 guys go in the first round.
Yeah.
6. It's only 5 to start. Like so I was like, that's a good development. And he has sometimes it takes him like 3 years to reload because he's developing his team.
Correct.
And I think that Coach K got to the point like, hey, I'm gonna have the top talent. I'm just gonna let them play. I feel like JJ Barrett, I know he's his Nick, but I feel like he could have
RJ, make that get
RJ Barrett. I felt like he could have used one more year to polish his game, and I felt like they would have done a tremendous, because I tell people like he was good enough to play in the league, hands down. He has the physical gifts, but I felt like, in my opinion, his handles weren't good enough to play the 2 yet, and he wasn't strong enough to play the 3. That was just my opinion before he came out.
Right.
But now, he's in his grown man body. He had to work at it. But I was like, one more year in college. But some people are like, well, what if he got hurt? Now, that's the part that people have to say, like, okay, is your son good enough to bang with the big boys? Because his companion, I told him, I said, Zion Williamson, I said, if he's drafted, which I knew he was going to be, I said, either he's going to be a bust, I said this years ago, or he is going to be the next big thing. This is what I said I was going to do for him. I said, when he's drafted, no matter what, are you going to put my hand on his shoulder like this? I'm going to put your hand on his shoulder. Hey, go ahead and say goodbye to mama and those biscuits. You're not going to see her for 90 days.
Right.
He was not going to touch a basketball for 90 days. I was going to take dirt. I was going to take him to the beach. We were going to do drills, and I was going to do low compression drills to help his joints and his knees till he got down to a lean 265. He country strong. He ain't need to lift no weights right now.
No, that's right. He knew chopping wood.
Yeah, I was like, I get him down to 265, 260, and I was talking to somebody. They was like, well, that would have been too small for him. No. He still would have been strong, and I would have hit him running the floor at 260. What did they do? They let him get down and get that gumbo and them shrimp, and he gets up immediately to 300. I saw the night after he was drafted. What happened? He played y'all in the
summer league, yeah.
Man, that T looked like he was about to pop off his neck. I'm looking like, yo, he got to be 300. And he did a dunk and threw it down, but everybody was like, oh, and I'm looking like, man, he looks stiff. And so, and I told my pops, because he loved to say I'm a hater because I was built small. I was like, he's too big to run the floor at that size. I said he gonna blow his knees out. What happened? Unfortunately, it wasn't a knee, it was a foot. And now it's like injury after injury after injury. It was a back, it was a foot. He had to get the knee drained. The boy didn't even play a whole season. Well, he played one. He might have played one season.
I don't even think he did. I don't recall him playing a full season yet.
Yeah, and they still talking about like, oh, he made one out of there. As a GM right now, and also people just like want to just roll people in and roll people out to put people in seats. I'm about winning. Right. If you come to my organization, I'm putting you on a diet immediately. It's not like, oh, you can't eat what you want to eat. No, like I can't, because I would probably get him tested for a thyroid and all the other issues prior to make sure he don't have any other issue that's not food related. Right. He looked like he loved it. He loved to eat. And I was like, you can't be, he's 6'7", 300. Like he's not tall enough to be 300. Maybe a left tackle, but but not. So like I said, I think that he's another one that I felt like he could have withstand either another year of development, because like he had raw ability. He could jump, he could run, but he's playing at 275, 280. He blew his shoe out at UNC. I told somebody, I said, y'all don't notice the difference? He comes back in 2 weeks and his jersey look like it's about to rip in the back. He gained 10 pounds by sitting down for a week.
So you saw the pattern already?
Yeah, I saw it in college. And everybody's like, oh, you just hate. And I'm looking like, nah, like I can see it. And guess what? He's about to be one more injury from being out of the league and being a has-been. Like he's about to be our Greg Oden.
That's sad.
And then I felt like he had so much potential. And then people like, oh, he got his money. He ain't play basketball for money.
I don't know, Rick. I don't know. I won't say he will be our Greg Oden. You got to give me somebody who, like Greg Oden, just had injury problems. Greg Oden didn't have like discipline problems. Like who? Give me somebody that who else out there you think had just discipline problems that just was a bust.
I had to go back far, but I can't think of anybody from '95 to now that just didn't, because I was like, I gave him the Greg Oden.
What about Okafor? Okafor what did Duke? Since we were talking about Duke,
but was Okafor injured?
No,
I just felt like
right.
like I said, I said Zion was our Greg Oden because Greg Oden to me had the physical gift to play, but like I said, them injuries. Like Zion has the physical gift to play whether he's 325 or not, but his knees, his shins, all that stuff is giving out on him.
Could he? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I never felt like Greg Oden was that good. I just felt like he was tall.
Do you think that Zion, like, because we're talking about how long Zion been in the league? This is what year? Third year. Do you think that, because what we're talking about, not necessarily weight wise, but injuries, lack of discipline. You know who the first person that reminds me of within the first 3 years of their career that had lack of discipline and injuries?
Jamarcus Cousins.
He probably might mess around and be MVP this season.
Oh, Embiid.
Yep, that's the first thing I could think. Yeah, but see, I didn't think Embiid was gonna pan out like this. You know what I mean? Because the thing was, like, within the first few years of his career, it was like
the process.
The process, exactly. Yeah, the process. You know what I mean? So I don't know if Zion's process of putting honey buns down or, I think that Mardi Gras every year. You know,
I think that brother got a thyroid issue. There ain't no way you gain 10 pounds in 10 days. Like, good God! Like I tell you.
You from you from the South, just like Zion is. Yeah. Zion eat molasses biscuits.
Sounds
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, 2-3 of them after he eat a meal.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah.